Hello guys and welcome to another video. My name's Mark, I'm an entrepreneur and property investor, and in today's video we're talking about something that's fairly close to my heart, and that is mini HMOs. In particular, turning 3-bedroom properties into 4-bedroom cash cows. And why do we do this? Well, because when we turn a 3-bedroom property, which traditionally, for example in Sheffield, we could rent out for about £750 a month, we can actually rent it out on a room by room basis for up to £1,650 a month. So there's a huge disparity, and if you do it right, and if you keep those costs down nice and low, you can achieve a fantastic ROI. And for HMOs and for mini HMOs, we're looking really between 15 and 25% as a return on investment in order to accommodate us for our risk, the extra complexity of the task, and for all of the work that's going to go into making these work as a mini HMO. Now, there's a few things that I want to talk about on this video, and it's going to be quite information rich. So if you like this sort of content, please give it a big like. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And if you haven't already subscribed, why not consider subscribing? There's no upsell, there's no course to buy, there's nothing else. I just want to give the information to you. So please consider subscribing, and we'll get into the video and go through as much of a detail as I possibly can. The very first thing I want to talk about is why we do mini HMOs. Now, the reason is that if you do only 4 people, now I've put 4 bedrooms, but really it is 4 people, you don't require a license. Now, with a license comes lots of extra complexity in terms of regulations and in terms of license fees. Once you get to 5 to 6 people, you have to get a HMO license. It's called mandatory licensing. And once it's 7 people plus, you need to go through a planning permission phase. So for me, this 4-bedroom, when you can turn a 3-bedroom into a 4-bedroom, providing the price is right and providing the return on investment hits this sweet spot, it really is a really nice sweet spot of where you can get a great return on investment with not too much red tape. So for me, this 4-bed's excellent. And that leads me on quite nicely to why I only do single occupancy rooms. Now, you do have minimum room sizes when it comes to HMO. For 1 adult, it's 70 square foot or 6.51 square meters. And for 2 adults, i.e. for a couple sharing, it would be 110 square foot or 10.22 square meters. Now, do you remember me saying over here that for a license, it's not actually 5 or 6 bedrooms, it's 5 or 6 people. So as soon as you cross from 4 people to 5 people, i.e. a couple could be 2, then you would automatically require a license. So for me, I find that using the extra space, I'm not allowed to charge enough extra. Capitalism doesn't allow me to charge enough extra for a couple in order to make this ever work. So where we have looked at it in the past, in some of my properties, we've never actually been able to make couples work because it means they take up an extra part of this occupancy without paying double the rent. And for us, in our portfolio so far, we've never taken on couples. It's all single occupancy. So I think that tells you something about the way the system's set up. And I think really when you're looking at these, you can have a 6-bed, you take on 1 couple and suddenly you need planning permission. It just doesn't work. And I've got a 5-bed, I've got 2 6-bed HMOs, and all of them have licenses, but I wouldn't want to push it above and have to go through the planning permission phase by taking on a couple. So I would always bear that in mind. When we're looking at these mini HMOs and trying to achieve this 15 to 25% ROI, we really are looking for 3-bedroom houses, which we can turn into a 4-bedroom HMO. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to turn the lounge or the living area downstairs into a 4th bedroom. It really is as simple as that. Now, because it's as simple as that, what we want to do is do it in the simplest way possible. And the very first image I'm going to get Nick to show you for property 1, it's the £75,000 one. Nick, if you put up the image of the property, and then if you put up the floor plan afterwards, that'd be fantastic, thank you. And what you can see on that one is the floor plan where the door into the downstairs comes in at the side. Now, we've got a couple of properties with this sort of layout. The door comes in here, the lounge naturally gets converted into a bedroom really easily. All you do is you switch this to a fire door and the conversion's taken place. We put a bed in it, it's now a bedroom, right? It's as simple as that. The rest of the layout downstairs flows really nicely. Where you can see the utility room, I bet traditionally the bathroom was there, and in a lot of ours, that is still a bathroom. Kitchen here, shared living space here, we normally put a TV, some Netflix up on there, and then 3 bedrooms upstairs. Now, I haven't really had a look to see if the upstairs works. I don't think it was really important. In this video, all I wanted to do was focus on the downstairs because that's where you add the extra complexity. That's where the extra cost can quite often come in. If the upstairs doesn't work in terms of sizes, 9 times out of 10 I'm walking away anyway because I don't want to be moving walls around, messing around upstairs. Remember, you can't mortgage building works like that. It's much easier to just buy something that's already in the right layout. So property 1, 75k, Nick, that one is perfect layout. Now, don't get hung up on the price. We're not going to buy it. It's method of modern auction. It's probably going to go for 150, but I just wanted to show you the layout. That one, for me, absolutely perfect. Let's look at property 2, which has a different layout. This is more of a traditional kind of kitchen, dining room, living space, open plan downstairs. And the front door comes in on the front right-hand side of that house. Now, for me, looking at that, it's got quite a lot of complexity to try and turn that into a 4-bedroom HMO. Let's assume the upstairs is all big enough. I haven't looked at the upstairs again. I just want to focus on the downstairs. But we would have to create a corridor, and then we'd create a bedroom here, I guess. We wouldn't want the bedroom at the back with the French doors because we want the access to the garden for the tenants there. So we'd have to probably create a corridor here and a door here. This would all need to be fire insulated. It would add quite a lot of cost. Probably not going to be worth doing. It's easier to buy something that's already set up in a better layout than adding probably an extra £5,000–6,000 worth of building work. When remember, £5,000–6,000, if you were to mortgage that money, it's actually going to allow you to borrow £20,000. You could buy a bigger, better house in a better area. So for me, I don't think that that would be something that I would look at. There are other instances of a similar sort of looking property which we have bought, where the kitchen is slightly better laid out, maybe at the front, and you come through and then you've got space at the back for a bedroom here and then the living space here. So visually from the front you can't always tell, but for this one in particular, I don't think I would ever do that one. I don't think it's a goer. And to that end, if we have a look at property 3, you can see this is the 150k one, and if you put up the floor plan, especially the downstairs, you can see that somebody has converted this into a 4-bedroom HMO. And what they've done is they've created that corridor that you need to create downstairs. What it does do is it means it's a very, very small bedroom downstairs, and I've actually noticed upstairs, when I had a look at the image, the 4th bedroom is too small. It's only about 57, 58 square foot. In fact, let's calculate it quickly, Nick, and I'm just going to send you the image. Yeah, bedroom 4 is 57.22 square foot upstairs, so that's too small to be classed as an adult bedroom. I think it's just on the border for being a child bedroom, but it's too small to be an adult bedroom. Traditionally, this sort of layout for me doesn't really work. I would prefer to find one which had a side entrance on these terrace houses or was a little bit wider. This one's a little bit too narrow, I think, looking at it. But, you know, they've made it work, kind of. You've got a few small bedrooms. They're going to be harder to rent out. Got one that's illegal upstairs. For me, not a layout that I would really choose, but they have made it work. So you can see an example here of how you can make it work. But I think the reality is when you're doing these sort of conversions, what you start with really does make a massive difference to what you end up with. So if I think about some of the properties I have, for example, I've got one in Princes Street, number 59 Princes Street in Kettering. Now that has the flying freehold and it's a very, very wide property. So it's incidentally quite similar to this in layout in that you come in here and then the first bedroom is here. But we started off with a much wider property and this room was already built. And then this was our room in, and there was door here and door here. So this room was already built and it was a very, very decent sized lounge, decent sized dining room here, and then the kitchen and the bathroom off at the back there. So because it had this wider layout, although it was very similar to this, it just had a wider layout and you could see that it just gave you so much more space. So this sort of layout, it does work. I can just tell that that one's been a conversion job, and I don't think that the property to start with was quite wide enough to make it work. I think they need an extra 2 or 3 foot, and I know that sounds like quite a small distance, but it does make a hell of a difference when you start putting corridors in, and this bedroom's only 7 and a bit foot wide at this point, so it's not very wide at all, and it's quite difficult to get bedroom furniture and all the rest into it. And so for me, I think I'd start with a wider property if I was looking at that sort of layout. I've got a couple in Sheffield that have got the side entrance. They work really, really well. I've got a couple that have got the front entrance, but they're a bit wider. I haven't yet bought anything like this where I've had to start building internals and creating these spaces, because the reality is it's just cheaper and easier to go with something that's already built in the way that you want it to. So that's my take on it, guys. Obviously, everybody on this channel, I'm really interested in your opinions. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think of these layouts? If you were going for any of these, what would you go for? If you bought properties before, do any of these strike any resemblance resemblance to the sort of things that you've been doing? I bet you this one does, for anyone who's out there who's doing HMOs. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has been useful. Again, just to recap, I only do single occupancy because I don't want to push myself into licensable or into planning permission. I choose layouts where I feel that the layout of the property is already at the right scale, and preferably the internals have a good layout for what I'm trying to do. I don't have to spend too much money not adding any value, and I tend to stay away from things where I have to spend an awful lot of money not adding value at all. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed it.